To give or not to give wildcards, that is seemingly the question with India set to host the WTA Chennai Open in a few days' time. It's a tennis tournament that will, of course, potentially provide an opportunity for some of India's best players to get in and play in front of a home crowd, whether that be, of course, through qualifying via rankings or by being given an all-important wildcard. But there is one notable player or a notable ex-player who has spoken out against giving Indians wildcards in this particular tournament. But another one who has pushed back and saying that pretty much the point of wildcards is to ensure that our players get opportunities. So who exactly has said what and where exactly is this debate heading? Whether or not it makes any sense, or more importantly, is it something that even should be talked about? Before we go through that, let's of course talk about the comments which have sparked this particular debate. You've got Vijay Amritraj, who very clearly stated that you don't want to put someone in the field that they are not qualified to be in. Instead of wildcards, qualifying would be a much better place for them to compete against players. And he's basically said indirectly that I don't think Indian players should be given wildcards. It makes more sense for them to go ahead and play in qualifying, where they will be up against players that they could potentially beat and then make their way to the tournament in better shape. Now, whilst there is an argument that holds some weight, after all, most Indian tennis players aren't really up there when it comes to the rankings, there is a further argument to be made that wildcards to local players is pretty much the reason that wildcards exist in the first place, and that is the case that was put forward rather strongly by Vishal Uppal, who happens to be India's non-playing captain for the Billie King Cup team, which is of course the women's version of what we know as the Davis Cup. You'll play in teams and you'll play multiple formats, but Uppal has pushed back rather strongly against what Amritraj said. Here's what he had to say. He said that these tournaments are supposed to benefit Indian tennis and Indian players. All 4 Grand Slams give wildcards to local players, even when they are ranked way below 200. And truth be told, you can see exactly where it is that Vishal Uppal is coming from, because we saw something rather similar play out even this year during the US Open, when the US Open organizers gave Venus Williams a wildcard to play in the tournament. Now, at that point in time, Venus had been out of tennis for quite a while. She'd undergone surgery. Her ranking had dipped way below the 400 mark, if memory serves me right. And she still ended up getting a wildcard to play in the tournament. The main reason for such wildcards is to ensure that some local player, whether it be someone of known repute, of an old age, who doesn't quite come up there in terms of the rankings, or someone young and promising who's making their way up but still doesn't merit qualification either through the qualifiers or directly, you give them a chance to be a part of the tournament. These wildcards can then hopefully cause some sort of an upset and bring in some additional attention to the tournament. That is pretty much the point that Vishal Uppal is raising, and truth be told, it's hard to disagree with what it is he's saying. Whilst you can understand where it is that Amritraj comes from when he says that perhaps wildcards should be given to players who actually have a chance of winning in the tournament, that pretty much defeats the purpose of the wildcards. The wildcards are usually given out to local players who will garner interest in that particular region, whether it be through the press, whether it be through fans actually buying tickets to see them. So it makes no sense to limit the usage of the wild cards for Indian players and instead give them out to foreign players. The whole point of holding these tournaments is to ensure that our players get some, game time in top level tournaments. And if you're going to deny them even that, then who really are these tournaments benefiting? That's just how I feel though. What do you guys think? You can let me know that in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon to follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, X and Facebook, and stay tuned for more such videos from the world of sport.